Welcome to the Capoeira Experience podcast, where you are going to learn how capoeiristas got where they are, how they keep the motivation, why they do what they do, and even how they do business through capoeira. I hope you enjoy it and learn something from their experience. What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. Once again, thank you so much to every single of you that is listening to the podcast and supporting the podcast, of course, for this year, which is I can't believe it's already a year. So to continue with the female series, I'm having this great female capoeirista. She started capoeira in 2008 at the U.S. Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs with Capuraginga. And then after she moved to Texas, she also found Capuraginga classes over there, getting her first score at that school. And then she moved to North Carolina, teaching for about 2 years. And now she's in Miami, Florida. And let me introduce you to Amazona from Capuraginga. How are you doing?
Good. How are you today?
Pretty good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for your service too.
Hey, it's my honor and my privilege, both for the service and to be here. I was super excited to get your message.
Nice. Yeah, like we were talking of recording. We are connecting from so many friends around two of us, and finally we get to meet each other.
Yeah, even across the world too. Like not just Florida, but everywhere, coast to coast, and Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, Brazil too. Oh, well, yeah, Coral. That's true. That's true. That's awesome. And capoeira. I love capoeira. That's why somehow all of us are connected to someone.
Yeah, for sure. That's one of the reasons I stay with it and love it so much.
Same. All right, perfect. So, for people to know who you are and all that, what is your social media so they can follow you?
It's Kelly Amazona on Instagram, and then Kelly Lynn Amazona for Facebook.
Nice. Awesome. And, I usually start all the interviews with a little story of like your background from your beginning, of your capoeira story from the beginning until today. Like, what is your capoeira story?
Got stories for days, man. So I'm still in the military. I'm in the Air Force.
That's awesome.
I went to the Air Force equivalent of West Point, and I started taking Portuguese classes. One of the days in the Portuguese classes, our professor brought in capoeira teacher from Colorado Springs, which happened to be Mestrando Mago and Professor Capuraginga from Capuraginga. They were Capuraginga.
Okay.
And I just got the great opportunity to take a capoeira class, my first ever, in my Air Force uniform, like boots and everything.
Oh, wow. Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I just have this great memory of doing AUs around the stage, like the gym, like where we actually did the class. We went to the auditorium and did the class in the auditorium stage. So like trying to throw kicks and boots was
wow, super heavy, huh?
Yeah.
I bet.
Great training though. It's like training with weights on your ankles.
True.
And then from there, during the summer, I trained with them when I could. Like I was like there every single day. I was hooked. And then after I graduated, awesome. I went to Brazil. To Salvador for a volunteer trip. Trained. I found Gingamundo. I think Professor Chipa was still down there at that time.
Okay.
I remember him.
Okay.
Which awesome class. Trained with guys on the beach, trained wherever I could. I jumped into rodas randomly.
That's so cool.
Came back from Brazil, went to São Paulo.
Okay. For
language training for the Air Force. Trained every day down there with any group I could find. Came back, moved to Texas.
Yeah.
And found Capuraginga in Texas. And I was just like, this is meant to be. So
that's
I
awesome.
With Mestrando Advogado and got my first cord in 2011, I believe.
That's so cool. It's like destiny.
Nope, 2012.
Oh, 2012. That's awesome. What because the military, you know, like you have to like be like very focused when something come to task, right?
Correct.
And how do you like, or what attract you in capoeira, like those first classes?
The mix of everything from movement. I played sports growing up. I played sports from the time I was like 2. My
That's
dad
awesome.
out in the front yard hitting a little wiffle ball off a tee for baseball.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
In diapers. No. So I loved the physical aspect. I love that I could push myself. I love that there was always a new thing to develop with my body. I loved the interaction. The connection with other people was something I was really missing in my life at the time. And just because I moved around so much from the time I was little, like developing those connections with other guys in my group and my mastery. And then just anywhere you go, like you can show up any capoeira house anywhere in the world and go, vou jogar capoeira, posso jogar com vocês? And it's just like you're in play. It's an automatic connection.
Yeah.
So it was really in the music. I love that it ties in music and history, because history for me, my family's history is something that is important to me. So the history that of Afro-Brazilian culture really fascinated me.
Yeah, it's a very long history of many stuff.
Yes, and that was actually my major. So Latin American history was my major in college, and then Latin American international relations was my master's.
Wow, that's awesome. So you study like for real, like history.
Yeah, I wrote multiple papers on Brazil's socioeconomics and government citizens and the slave trade.
That's awesome. Wow, that's pretty cool. And did you get to see any like capoeira information on those papers? All the information that you were researching?
So I didn't, at the time, I didn't realize some of the stuff that I was reading, how it connected to capoeira. But going back and looking at some of my textbooks now and talking to other capoeiristas, especially a lot of the mestres I've met in Brazil, I see where the underlyings of Afro-Brazilian slave culture really played into the culture that's published, because a lot of capoeira Afro-Brazilian culture isn't published, right?
Yeah.
I read a good advogado recommended I read Children of God's Fire, which of course is like that thick, but
I did.
It doesn't have a lot of direct references to capoeira, but it was really interesting to me to see how the culture and the bonds between slaves enabled the creation and the continuance of capoeira, and how they created families, and how they really formed a resistance that turned into a community and turned into...
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's funny that, like, I always ask everybody, like, I always tell you, like, the little bit of story of you, so I can have an intro for you, so I can and kind of I make the questions around that, and then but now that we're live, I didn't know this about history, about your background in history, and that's pretty cool because when I went to Fortaleza in August, I met Mr. Francesinha, and she talked about those, like the history, the woman, and in capoeira. And it's kind of funny how, like, I don't know, at some point of people telling the history, or like, because as an African culture, I guess, is very like mouth to mouth. It's not like a specific paper on a specific day. Oh yeah, in 1872 this happened.
Yeah.
And she said that those researches that she did, there were women that they tied up their skirt and they jumped to the hood. And I was like, man, that's crazy. I never heard those kind of stuff. Well, he said there's something where you saw on those papers or those researches where woman was like compressed or kind of like not step down. I don't want to sound like mean, but it's like cover up. You know.
So again, just to preface this, a lot of my research was more from a academic socioeconomic perspective, so not specifically capoeira. And that's kind of just the culture from what I've researched and what I understood. It was Portuguese influence, Dutch influence, and women historically just didn't have civil rights.
Yeah.
You throw in the ethnic social factor. African slave women were seemingly treated as property. Slaves were property. So women were even less than that because they weren't strong. They weren't as strong as men. They weren't capable of working in the fazendas. They couldn't earn money in that way for their masters. So they were just objects for housework or objects for pleasure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I learned from history too. The thing is, like, my question goes together because capoeira is pretty much what I learned these almost 19 years of doing this is capoeira usually is the reflection of the culture that we live around. So capoeira is very adaptive. So capoeira adapts to wherever you are. Is similar to wherever you came from or wherever you train, but it adapts. So has the capoeira in New York is not the same capoeira in LA, and even in different cities is capoeira adapts. You know, that's what I'm saying about the history, the woman in the history.
I get that.
Yeah.
I would, if I can, I would add that I would say capoeira has the ability to create, not just to act, but
absolutely.
People, their groups, their philosophies, what they bring, they can really create something. And that's where the transformation and evolution that, at least that I see, really comes in.
Oh yeah, and capoeira keeps evolving, and who knows how he's gonna be here to 100 years, and because
be beautiful.
I bet, and huge, and because I'm pretty sure Mr. Bimba didn't know capoeira was about to be what it is today. He just like, I want this to change, but I'm just gonna make a change, and today's day is evolving so awesome, and I just love this.
Oh, for sure. Like it was illegal in his time.
Exactly.
He just stuck with doing what he loves, and he was real about it, and he put himself into what he loved because that was being his authentic self. And like, look what he created. That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's funny. Like every time I teach a new class, I always say, like, thanks to, of course, many masters got involved on that time, but what the most known is Mr. Bimba. So it's like, thanks to this really smart guy, he didn't say capoeira is just luta regional baiana, and he said, like, is capoeira, but I'm not gonna call it capoeira. I'm just on paper or by mouth, I'm just gonna call it luta regional baiana. And then he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess. And then keeps it's the exact same thing, but just different name. And then, of course, came back to capoeira with the time. It's just like, is funny how like a little thing can change something for so drastically.
But that's the beautiful thing about teaching, right? I mean, I talked about this with a lot of teachers because I train all over the place. And I always ask them, like, how do you inspire your students? Like one person.
That's a great question.
One teacher has the ability to be that game changer for all of their students, for dozens of people. And it's all about them, like, being there, that support, them caring for their students and just passing what they know because they love it.
Yeah.
One thing, right? One person, one simple act, like pushing someone to train harder in class or just inspiring them or sharing what you know with them is then a game changer for them because they can turn around and pass it or use it or leverage it.
Yeah, exactly. And is I guess the passion of that connects, like touch people, that touches everyone in some way, somehow, and kind of like attracts them. Like I remember I was having the conversation with Mr. Chuisquinho, and we were talking about the energy in capoeira, and he's just like, man, he's just like, the energy is so awesome that makes people move, and it's just like everybody's connected at the same energy level, and you get goosebumps, and everybody's just jumping around. You can buy the game and never get tired. And after the hot, it's like, yeah, I just want to keep playing. It's just
I'm getting
like
goosebumps right now.
yeah, it's awesome. It's just like capoeira is such a powerful tool for everybody.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, it's interesting to me. Everybody that does capoeira loves capoeira.
Exactly.
I mean, it's where that energy comes from. Everybody loves it, and at the end of the day, I mean, you can be from Spain, you could be from the United States. I mean,
yes,
it's that tie back to Afro-Brazilian culture and the sharing and the connection. Like, you can come from different backgrounds. It doesn't matter where you come from.
Yeah,
you come because you love capoeira, and everybody loves capoeira.
Yes, and we'll I always mention this in almost all the interviews, that doesn't matter what kind of language you speak. If you start Jinga, we can speak the same language.
Yep.
It's just like awesome how this works. And so you don't know like which section of like history when woman kind of like starts stepping up, because by that reference I can kind of like see when woman in capoeira, at least Brazil, when woman in capoeira, woman in capoeira start like stepping up and be like, like this is my spot.
So I think my thoughts on that, I don't know the history. I mean, I don't think there's any one point that stands out to me.
Okay.
I'm not, I don't want to say gender neutral, but I also think like everybody has the ability to get into the roda when they want to get into the roda.
Yeah.
I mean, you get from capoeira what you put into capoeira. So I really think that if I don't know if stepping up is the word I would use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
maybe
like
standing out. I don't know. Maybe there's not a lot of women that stand out. I mean, I remember the first time I saw Mestre Jo.
Yes.
I was like, dang.
I want to play with her. Yeah, I know.
I want to play like that.
Yeah, same.
That was my first time like being exposed to a woman in capoeira where I just went, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I saw her. She went to Venezuela once,
mm-hmm.
and we got to see her, and we were like our mouth was just open. It's like she was really kicking everybody.
Yes.
And we were like, man, what is this? Like, this is so cool. Like, how can we get to play like you? Like, and I want to play with you so I can get to play like you. It's pretty cool. Yeah, but my question was more like socially and the history that you study, like social cultural in Brazil, because that's what I'm saying about like that. From my point of view, of course, like that's kind of like where I can see where women start like standing out and be like, like this is my spot culturally. So I know kind of like capoeira could be like around that moment too, I
can honestly say I don't know if I ever like noticed a specific point. I know I've been going to Brazil a lot over the past couple of years for work.
Okay.
And I realize every time I go, there's tons of women. Like there's tons of women at the rodas. There's tons of women.
That's so cool.
They're so kind. I show up, I know no one, and I'm just like, I don't know if I should be here because I mean, because everyone has their insecurities, right?
Yeah, of course.
The women are always the first ones to come up, like, "Hey, tudo bem? Você americana?" Like,
that's
like,
so
wow,
cool.
There's an American here training, and I'm like,
yeah.
capoeira.
Yeah.
And that stands out to me as it's in the community, in the culture, that in the vivencia that I
Yes.
had, I didn't notice that there was women not stepping up, or if they weren't, just because that was my first. I mean, they were the one. They were super. Everyone was super welcoming.
Yeah. But Brazilian community is very, very opening. It's like, oh, you're from there. That's so cool. Like, and then they start like asking like, how's stuff there? How does that work? And how's capoeira there? And then they kind of like break the ice.
They do. They created that openness and created that ability for me to really just be at ease.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I went to Fortaleza. I was like, because it's the first time I went there, and I didn't know how people would be and like how they're gonna be, like, because usually when someone is new in the area, it happens everywhere. You're like, who's this guy? You know, and they say, who the heck is this guy? And then what's the completely opposite? He's like, everybody was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, who are you? And what's your name? Where you live? Where you came from? And he's like, man, that's so cool. It's pretty cool. It feels good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And now, I saw that you told me that you study Portuguese, right?
I did.
Yeah. And you did said something in Portuguese that sounds like really good. Like, if you speak Portuguese, I think you're Brazilian. So
I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
Which is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And now that we associate language in capoeira, and just as a capoeirista, no as a studying the language and the culture and all that, for work and capoeira too. How do you think how important is to speak Portuguese as a American born?
Insanely. Insanely. And I will be the first to tell you, it is work.
Yes.
It is work. It is hard work. As I had an advantage because I already spoke Spanish.
Cool.
And I have a girlfriend of mine who just like, shout out to Sapina, by the way.
Oh, nice.
I had to do that.
What's up, Sapina?
Yeah, she always she's always asking me like, how do I say this? How do I say that? How do I find better ways to study? Like, that inspires me to keep studying too, because like language, you can always evolve your study of language, but especially for capoeira, the more I learn about the language, the richer my understanding of capoeira becomes. The more I understand the music, the more I've started to create music or play around with the words, the better the conversations I've been able to have with Maima, with Mestre Advogado, with Mestre Loca, our group's mestre, with mestres traveling, because there's words in Portuguese that just don't exist in English. They don't exist in Japanese or even Spanish or other Latin languages.
The sotaque.
Yeah, sotaque, ashe. Like, ashe is...
Yeah.
Ashe is ashe.
Yeah. Ashe is, I don't know. I don't know how to explain to you, ashe. Come to the Hoda so you can see it.
Energy. I mean, it's energy, but it doesn't have the same weight or the same conceptual understanding in English. And it's just, ashe is that energy that really connects all of us. Yes. I've tried to explain this to my mom, and she's super religious because she loves watching capoeira now. And her first response was, "Oh, it's like the Holy Spirit." And I go,
"Well,
that works for you."
Yeah. Well, if you understand it that way, okay, that works.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like if you're a Star Wars watcher or if you like Star Wars, it's like the Force, so Star Wars. So really that.
But it's one of those things, like language, it helps people relate. So the more you understand Portuguese, the more you can connect to somebody, the more you can connect. You can connect through movement. I mean, that's the first thing. You show up in the roda, all right, that dude had a ginga. All right, I'm a ginga. We're going to play.
Yeah.
But then the next level of connection and interaction and understanding is that language.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree. Like, sometimes someone is singing a song and you don't know what is the song, but you kind of like pay attention, and then you say, oh, the chorus is like this. Okay, I just repeat the chorus. And then it's like, it's easier to catch stuff when you speak and you can communicate and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say also that is incredibly important to understand. At least like you can speak it, of course. It is important if you understand and speak. But if you can at least understand it, that's a big help for you to understand what you're doing.
Agree. Completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, and it's awesome. I just love capoeira in all the aspects.
I can tell. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. And so I now stepping out a little bit of um the history and studies and all that. I see you always like pretty active on social media.
I
Yeah,
try.
yeah. At least like 2-3 times per week.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty active for me.
exactly. So how do you keep that motivation? What is your motivation to stay active on social media with capoeira, especially?
On social media, it's accountability for myself. One, gonna be completely honest.
Okay.
If I know, I'm training and I can get my videos on social media, it's accountability to myself to keep going. It's accountability to myself to really keep discovering what I want in capoeira for myself and for others, and what I want to create and how I want to create who I am in capoeira and who I am for others. And it was rough at first because I am not normally a person that wants to put myself out there.
Yeah.
But it's been really inspiring to hear from just people that have seen my videos or sharing with other people, even sharing the videos that I do with other capoeiristas or in chat groups where they're like,
Yeah.
That's so motivating. Thanks for the
So cool.
motivation. And it really made me realize, like, we're all
You never know who's watching.
Yeah, you don't know who's watching. But,
Yeah.
I mean, in the same way that other people's videos motivate me, I mean, I kind of realized, well, I actually motivate other people. Okay, that's cool.
I know, right?
Really
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome. Yeah, no, it is really cool. Because like I said, you never know who's watching, and sometimes that person watch your video and never liked it because he's like, I don't want to be too creepy and like it, like, or whatever thought goes through their head and be like, someone is watching and be like, I want to be like this person.
Yeah, and it reminded me of like me watching Mestre Joe's videos.
Exactly.
Or Pavon's videos or Joy's videos. Like everybody that I've looked up to, it kind of hit me when I was talking to another monitor in a group, Junia, that there's people that look up to us now. Like
that's awesome.
It's really crazy. And even my family, who knows nothing about capoeira, my mom started following on Instagram. That's
so cool.
Videos. And now we have these really cool conversations about capoeira because it's just inspiring to me.
That's so funny. How
curious she is about
it. That's so cool. Like, because sometimes, I don't know if it ever happened to you, like when someone randomly out of the street, they say like, what do you do? I do capoeira. Can you explain that to me? He's like, well, you got like 10 minutes.
Breakdance fighting.
Yeah, something like that.
Breakdance fighting is the easiest response I've come up with.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a good response though, because it's breakdance, fighting, dance / everything else, music. Yeah. Because sometimes when people ask me like, hey, what do you do? Because they ask me like, what else do you do? And just, well, I also teach martial arts. Oh, what is that? Let me show you a video. This is what I teach.
Yes, it's so much easier to show sometimes.
Yeah, and be like, and people are like, "Oh man, that's pretty cool. It looks like a rain dancing." Like, yeah, you can say that. you can, yeah, I guess you can say that. But you can try it too. And how I see that you're also pretty flexible too, and I right now I try to work a lot on my flexibility because I'm stiff, like very stiff. How many times per week do you train your flexibility, and how long?
So I don't train it per se. I do a lot of foam rolling and I do a lot of stretching at home.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I do a lot of cross training.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And that's kind of how I keep it up. And then really good warm ups. I have form on the Mestre Thiago showed me the value of a good warm up in Curaçao last October.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah.
Like, what would be a good warm up for you?
So
what would you say is a good warm up?
I actually adopted the one he gave me, Alginga, for 10 minutes and just do movement, nothing but movement. Shuffles, quebrado, anything that will get some twist or some variation in my Jenga.
Okay.
For 10 minutes, and then handstand warm-ups. So not straight into handstands, but like I'll mix in yoga moves, yoga stretches.
Awesome. Okay.
And from different yoga positions, go to handstands or go into fintas for meia lua, finta de queixada, finta de amada. And then from there, slowly work into like bocce.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, cool. Okay.
So if I do any
I'm taking notes right now and be like,
that's
awesome.
If I do bendy stuff, I take about 20 minutes or so to warm up my back and legs and everything. Because my upper legs are actually super tight. My hamstrings are loose, but my quads are super tight, so I have to really warm up.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I need. Because usually it's very average in capoeira, where capoeiristas have a very messed up lower back.
Yeah, so that's where a lot of the cross training has helped me, because I worked with a lot of guys in the military that do really, really physical operations.
Okay.
So they've taught me like you're really loosening up the hip flexor and the soleus inside your hip bone really helps with loosening the pressure on your lower back. So I've tried to study a lot of different, like not just capoeira, but I've tried to study different arts, different ways to increase flexibility, increase strength, or keep your muscles loose.
That's awesome. I this year, let me see. The end of last year, I got very interested in how's it called? Animal flow.
Yes.
And I was like, man, this is, because I'm very restless. I cannot be static on one yoga pose. I guess like when it's time for me to move, and it's hard for me to stay quiet in one position. That's why I love capoeira, because we're always moving.
Yep.
And when I saw animal flow is very it's like a combination yoga, capoeira, and movement and force and also I'm like, man, I really like this. And you start watching videos and reading around all stuff, and I was like, man, I really like this. I think this is gonna help me for stretching and all that.
Has it? Do you like it?
A little bit, yeah. It's not. I'm starting getting into it, so it's very, very nice how they teach the warm ups, the proper warm ups, like you said, for you to be able to move how you need to move, and then I'm like, oh, this one help me for capoeira, and then they move for the rest, because they are a lot on their hands, and they're like, I can apply this to my class, and then I started connecting the dots, and like, this is awesome, this is pretty cool. Then slowly I'm getting more into it, and I really like it. If you try, I'm pretty sure you probably like it.
I will have to check that out.
Yeah. You located right now in Miami, right?
I do.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I think it's called like a primitive flow or something like that. I think they changed the name there.
Okay.
Because copyright stuff, but I think it's called like primitive movement or primitive, but it's the exact same thing as animal flow.
I for sure check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're gonna like it.
Maybe I can get a video from it.
Say what?
Maybe I can get a video from it.
Oh yeah, for sure, and be like capoeira. It's pretty cool. I've seen videos where guys they have like hashtag capoeira, and you're like, man, this is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. That even inspired me to go check it out.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Check it out. You're gonna like it. And how capoeira has been helping you these last years, where you say like, oh man, capoeira is really helping me to develop this in my life?
So as I mentioned, when I started capoeira, I was really struggling with forming connections with people.
Okay.
Just because work is very professional.
Yes.
And I like to keep I like to keep professional. And even within capoeira teaching, like there's a certain being that you want to create for yourself and a certain presence you want to have as an instructor and for your students. So I was kind of very hesitant to interact with a lot of people. And I just didn't interact with a lot of people. I would show up to class and train hard and then leave every day.
Okay.
And for me, just repetitive training and just showing up and other people being there, those other people, like my mestre, Advogado is one of the best friends I have. He's one of the oldest and longest best friends I have. Just for the fact that through capoeira, I was able to establish that relationship and develop that friendship into something where I'll just call and we'll just talk about, hey, I need to bounce an idea off of you. Hey, what do you think about this? And it's the same with all the graduados and all the other guys in our group that they actually gave me my name because I didn't have
awesome.
The first name I got didn't stick because I would show up and train and then leave. And I always had like the serious expression on and I was military.
Yeah.
So they were the ones that were always very open with me and very welcoming and very loving. And they came up with that's the Amazon woman. That's Amazona.
Nice. That's awesome. That's a pretty good name.
So they were calling me that before I even knew that was my name.
That's right. And so we say that's like kind of like like introversion or more like you just wanted to keep that boundary at least at the beginning.
I was pretty introverted, and I guess it was
Same.
just kind of my personality as well.
Okay.
Training. I mean, it just kind of how I was trained. We moved around a lot, so that's how I turned out. I guess it was kind of like within me too. I was kind of afraid to step out of who I was.
Yeah.
And capoeira really gave me that playing that field, if you will, like that space to step out of who I was and be able to create something else and be able to be more than what I was.
That's pretty cool because I'm in the exact same page with you because same thing. I used to be a very introverted kid. And like same. I used to do the class, capoeira class. I didn't even stay to the roda because I didn't want to stay. I didn't want to be around people. And I was like, okay, well, I do the class and then leave. And then I do the class and then leave. And then one day I was like, well, I'm going to stay 5 more minutes. And then people start clapping. Okay, I think it's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
And then a little bit 5 minutes and then 5 minutes. And then until one day my mind was like, what time are you going to get home? It was like really late. And then is same thing. Like capoeira brought out what I guess we can call it who I really am. And brought out that personality. It's like, and same thing. I love this, you know.
I was super competitive, so everyone
That's
knows
cool.
I was one that wanted to show up and kick everybody, but not talk. Not kick everybody because I never actually kicked, but I played really, really, really hard. Like, and I played against myself instead of just accepting myself too. That was probably my biggest thing that I've been able to change through capoeira.
That's
like
awesome.
I always wanted to be better, always wanted to be better, always wanted to be better. And then just years of staying with it. I mean, I finally realized like it's not about getting the next trick. It's not about getting the next floreo. It's about enjoying it where I am.
Absolutely.
And then after that, it just that peace and that ashe and that
yes, and the goosebumps and the jumping is cool. It's cool. Once you get to feel that, it feels really cool. And I had another question in mind, and it went off talking about
you got it.
yeah, it's like same thing. But yeah, capoeira changed completely who I was. Like I remember now. I remember, guess it's funny how I see myself today, and I go back when I started, and I was like, man, that Kashishi is I can't believe I came all this way, you know. And because I remember last year, I think, in April, Alfalfa and my wife and all of us went to Chicago to a capoeira event.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. The what?
I wanted to go.
Oh man, it was awesome. It was pretty cool.
That was Colibri's event, right?
Yeah. And then I was the one in the group where like, okay, let's go this way. Okay, now let's go that way. Okay, and all of them started calling me the president because wherever we go, I go and start introducing myself to everybody and like shaking hands. Hey, how are you? Who are you? Hey, I'm Kashishi. Who are you? And then everybody, then they start making fun of me because I was the president. Like I was talking to everybody. Like, I'm not the president, man. I just like to talking to people.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so now as a female capoeirista, what do you think we can get better in the capoeira community, or the capoeira community can help the female capoeirista? Right now is amazing how the female is the female community is brightening, is way brighter than it used to be before. And you see many females posting videos as yourself and bringing up the female characteristic in capoeira. What do you think? How we can make it stronger as a community?
I would say encourage women to move through fear or their own self-doubt. At least in my case, for me, my biggest struggle has always been that little voice in my head before when I walk up to a roda of who I don't know if I should be in there. I'm not that big or that fast.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty big for a female. Like I'm a good size for a female.
Yeah. How tall are you?
I'm 5'8".
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm 5'8", almost 5'9", and fairly solid, right?
That's very cool.
And then of course that voice in my head is just like, I don't know if I can keep up with them. And it's that self-doubt that you just, sometimes, I mean, everyone, not just women, but everyone really needs kind of maybe some encouragement or just some acknowledgement of, hey, you got this. Like, you're here because you love it. Do this for you. Be in the game. Like, pula pra roda, porque yeah, it's what you came for, right? So enjoy it. And I think for me, it's really awesome the encouragement I've got, because it definitely helped me get past like my own inner reservations or my self-doubt.
That's pretty cool. And always be like having that friend with you and be like, hey, you know, how many times have you played today? Do you play volleyball today?
Accountability.
Oh yeah.
Accountability for sure.
Yeah, lead the harder. If you have the tools to lead the harder, don't be afraid to lead and ask for like, hey, you know, can I sing now? Like always trying to like, you know, I don't know if you ever see like on the batteria and where they are like kind of like looking at each other and see who's gonna sing now.
Yep.
And then you just grab any beating ball and just be like wink. I'm like, I got this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Just lead and don't be afraid, because every single person capoeira goes through that, you know.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Doesn't matter gender.
Nope.
Everybody goes through that and be like, you know, I'm scared to like kind of like sing today, you know. And you know what? I got it. Just do it. Just jump to the roda, and same with the game and with the music and the instruments. Just do it.
I was petrified of picking up a beating balance. Not playing, but singing.
Yeah.
Absolutely just paralyzed with, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this. Exactly.
And the first time after when you're done, you're like, wasn't that bad?
Yes.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah, and the second time, you kind of like hesitate again. No, I did it last time. It wasn't bad. And then, okay, wasn't that bad. And then you get used to it, and then you get used to it. Like exact same thing like buying the roda. You nervous the first time, and the second time, and the third time, and not too much, and not too much until it comes out naturally. You just, I'm gonna jump now.
No, for sure. And everyone, I mean, like you said, everyone has that. And I mean, I guess to go back to your question, women specifically, men and women process things different and they see things different.
Absolutely.
And sometimes like just that encouragement or that acknowledgement of maybe what's holding a woman back is all she really needs to go, all right, I'm here because I love this. Let's do this.
Yes. He's like, come on, you got it. Let's go. Oh yeah. And I agree that is feels much better when the entire community is like pushing that. Is like, come on, you got it. It doesn't matter where you're from, state or city or country, anywhere.
Yeah, men and women both show up to class and they train. If you train hard, regardless of your gender, you're going to get results.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the results is going to be the same. It's just going to be really good capoeira.
Yeah. And it doesn't, the biggest struggle for me, like one of the struggles for me again was, I was like the guy's capoeira and was thinking, oh, I want to do that. I want to do those floreos. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. It's not impossible. I mean, I could train 50 hours a week and perhaps do a 540.
Yeah.
Or I could develop my capoeira, develop my style. That's specifically my style. And that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I can really play my style and master my style, I can play with anybody else.
Yes. That's exactly what capoeira is, like, and it's just, I guess, because we keep comparing ourselves with the social media, that we're like, man, these people on social media, they do these, those florillos, and like, man, I can do it. I'm not gonna post anything, or I'm not gonna do it. It's like, that's not the only thing about capoeira. There's many others, a huge full color of rainbow, and it's so many stuff that is beyond that.
Yeah, I so get that. I mean, some of the most beautiful games I think I've ever seen, they're not tons and tons of floreos. It's the two people playing have such developed and controlled movements and expression, beautiful self-expression that really reflects who they are. And through their movements, even if it's like just kicks, movement, jinga, maybe one or two floreos, the way their two styles of expression interact is flowing.
Yes, that connection, that the connection of that flow is, and you get like, whoa, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty nice game.
It's on point.
Yeah, it's like you wanna record it and keep watching it.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen those games and I'm like, man. And now as a capoeirista, what advice would you give to the capoeira community, just in general, or that capoeirista that is listening to this podcast right now?
Advice. I mean, that's the same advice that I always get. It's that I remind myself of, that Advogada gives me all the time. You get from capoeira what you put into capoeira, and you really gotta know what you want from capoeira. So when you decide what you want from it, go after it.
Yes. No, that's awesome. And never stop training, so you can so you can find out what it is.
Yep.
No, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. And to wrap it up, what will be your social medias again, so people can find you and can get the inspiration from you?
So Facebook is Kelly Lynn Amazona, and then Instagram is Kelly Amazona.
Nice. Awesome. So everybody listening, you better go follow, because we'll see you in the Jota. No, just kidding. And then, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and your capoeira experience and your knowledge in history, in your Portuguese, everything. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kashishi. I really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. So we'll stay in touch, and hopefully I get to see you in any event and we can play together.
Of course, na volta do mundo, right?
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, have a good one.
Bye. All right. I just want to share something with you really quick. If you are listening to this and you teach or assist to a capoeira class, or even if you have an event coming up, I want to help you. I want to help our capoeira community because there's nothing more important to me than help our capoeira community. Because classes are more fun when there's more people to share this sachet, this energy so awesome that capoeira has. So I want to share your class or event in our podcast. So reach out to us with school name or any information on how people can find you and send it to our email, podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. That's podcastcapoeira@gmail.com. And I will share that information here in our podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you like this podcast. If you did, take a screenshot, send it to someone that knows about capoeira or of course wants to learn. Share it everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, everywhere. And help us grow this community with a subscribe. Thank you so much. Peace.